For a small business, blog content is the most basic form of online marketing. It's at the center of a great online marketing strategy and costs nothing to put in place. However, because most small businesses don't have a content team, it can often feel like blogs are repeating each other. When that happens, you need to shift your small business blog content with a new angle. Consistently blogging takes a lot of work and creativity. Keeping your small business's blog content fresh can get tiresome, but it's important if you want your audience to keep coming back for more. If you start to write the same stuff repeatedly, your audience will quit reading it. Why continue to come to you if there's nothing left to learn from you? Before that happens, you need to start coming at your blog from a different angle. Switch it up. By adding some variety to the content you produce, you can not only add a twist to the content your audience comes for, but also create new content that will attract more visitors. Today, I've got 9 new angles to shift your small business blog content. Switching up your blog content is a way to refresh your creativity and improve your audience engagement. Done right, it's even a great way to recycle some of your old content. If you're going to shift what you're doing though, you're going to need some new ideas. I got you covered, of course. I put together a list of some of the most popular blog angles that you could take to make your content take a new direction. If you can master these, you'll be ahead of your industry and into a whole new creative space. Get ready to do things a little better. There are certain concepts in your industry that every customer will encounter. However, they're unique to your industry. Things that the average person wouldn't understand unless somebody explained it to them. That somebody should be you. It's time for your small business blog content to provide some definitions. A what is it post explains those concepts to your audience. They're complete and in-depth, yet simple to understand. Think about the concepts that you most commonly find yourself explaining to your customers. I'm talking about the ones you explain so much that you do it in your sleep. Those are the concepts that your audience wants to understand too. Put those explanations in your blog article. Define those common points of confusion so your audience can make a clearer decision and you can spend less time explaining it to your customers individually. Doing this in blog format allows 2 distinct advantages. Number 1, you can point your customers' questions back to your blog article, saving yourself time. And number 2, you can organize your thoughts and definitions more clearly, giving your audience a better answer. It's also a great way to expand your blog with fresh content, and it gives you a way to build your internal link structure by referring back to it every time you write another article that needs that definition. There are always going to be people who'd rather do the job themselves instead of hiring a professional. Those people spend hours scouring the internet for information on what they should do. They'd rather risk screwing something up than spend the money to have a professional handle it for them. But whether the result's great or not, they're going to handle it themselves. These DIYers are going to need your help. After all, if they're going to do it themselves, they might as well learn to do it right. And that's going to mean more referrals for you. Yes, some of them will be other DIYers, but others will be the kind of person that'll hire you. In that light, turn your blog content towards a how-to post. What products or services do you offer that people can handle making or doing themselves? Start breaking down some of those basic ways people can do things on their own. Maybe it's how to make the homemade version of your product, or maybe it's a tutorial on how to perform your services in-house. Walk them through everything they're going to need to know how to be successful. Make sure they understand the ins and outs of what they'll need to do. When you can help them do it themselves, they'll remember you, they'll recommend you to their friends, and most importantly, they'll come to you for the things that they can't handle themselves. Somewhere out there is somebody who's just getting introduced to your industry. They know nothing about what you do and the ways that you solve their problems. They're like a clean slate for information about the work you do. Each of those people could jump directly into your advanced content, learning all they can about the in-depth while gleaning the basics. But that's the hard way, isn't it? They'd have a much easier time learning the industry if there was introductory content for them to consume. You'd have a much easier time converting them to leads if yours was the first viewpoint they were exposed to. That means you need to be the one that introduces them to the basics. In this post, you'll focus your blog content on the things that they need to know when they're starting out on their customer journey. What can they expect from the industry? How do they know if they're ready to purchase a solution? Is there a right or wrong way to approach the purchase process? You need to answer these and any other questions they'll have before they get started. The most important thing you need to do is help walk them through the beginning of the journey towards a purchase. With high quality, high value content, you become their authoritative source for information about your industry. That's going to increase the odds that they'll work with you in the future. In every industry, there are processes. From an application process to a buying process or something more complicated in between, your customers will eventually need to do something that takes a few steps. Normally, these processes and steps are obvious. However, during their buyer's journey, there may be other processes that they'll need to handle before they get to the purchase. Take carpet buying as an example. They'll need to do research into the carpets they want, get quotes for new carpet, check out other flooring options, then choose to either have it installed or do it themselves. That process is a series of steps, but some of those steps might have their own processes. A carpet installation company might create a step-by-step guide to getting a floor covering quote, and you'll do similar with your blog. Find the parts of becoming your customer that might take several complicated steps. Break that process down and explain each step completely. The end goal should be that your reader feels comfortable enough walking through that process and preferably with your company. If your company isn't involved in that process, the way the installer isn't part of finding the right color and style carpet, you'll want them to come to you for the steps that you are a part of. In this case, it's not the sales pitch, but your helpfulness that leads them to become your customer. Sometimes your creativity is far too tapped to even switch formats. You've written everything you can think of and you've got nothing more to write. It's a real problem that many small businesses face when trying to maintain a blog. It speaks to the reality that you, as the business owner, aren't learning as much as you need to be. In the long term, the only solution is to intake more knowledge, but for now, you need to create content for your small business's blog. Time to interview someone else. The fastest, simplest way to make content that requires no creativity is to conduct an interview. Choose among industry experts that you've built a relationship with. Ask them the critical questions your audience has about your industry. Look back at those "What is it?" and "For Beginners" posts that you wrote earlier to get your expert's take. Ask about tips and tricks that they might have come up with. Inquire about the way that they recommend your customers approach the industry. Pick their brains about the way your industry solves your clients' problems and share their answers with your audience. Be sure you tout their expertise in the field. Note any accolades, experience, and notable achievements. Not only do you and your audience benefit from the knowledge, but you also get exposure to an audience that's coming to see your expert. It's a win-win. Sometimes you need a break from the routine. Your blog content constantly educates your audience in detail about specific subjects. Every now and then, you need to give them something a little more actionable. Think of it as giving them a gift for their loyalty. You can put together a resource list for them. Resource lists are a collection of different tools, guides, and materials that they can use from around the web or in some cases in the real world. They're typically free for your audience or can be accessed immediately. The cool part about resource lists like this is that they don't require a ton of work to dig up. Chances are you already have a swipe file that you offer your clients full of things that they'll need to do before they become your client. Plus, you get a list of recommendations that you likely usually give them along the journey to become your client. There's also the advice and resources that you recommend to new clients to help them along the way. It's time to put that all in one place on your blog. Compile your list, grouping resources together based on their relationship to each other and the reasons you recommend them. Include a description of what each resource does and why your audience needs it. Rate it against its competition, which you can also feel free to include. By the time you're done, you'll have something that will truly feel like a gift to your audience. You can always critique the competition. Now, before you jump ahead of me, hear me out. I'm not talking about being critical of your competition. I promise that method never earns new clients. In this case, we're talking about your client's competition. For B2B industries, you'll literally be writing about your target audience's direct competitors. Your small business blog content should focus on all the ways that they're doing something wrong. Contrast those failures with all the ways that you can help your reader handle that thing correctly. Show them that working with you gives them a leg up. For B2C companies, you need to talk about beating the Joneses. You know who I'm talking about. Every consumer has somebody in their life that they want to show off for. Maybe it's a neighbor that they want to look better than. It could be a family member that's always looked down on them. Your job is to show them how your product and service can make your audience look better while simultaneously highlighting a flaw that the Joneses have. It's an appeal to emotion and their sense of competition. This angle also allows you to have a little fun poking at some of the common problems that you know how to fix. It's going to draw your audience in while lightening the mood a little bit. Everyone makes mistakes. It's normal as humans, even though it doesn't feel like it when we make them. Many times it's a part of our job to help the clients get past these mistakes. But before they become our clients, they don't always see that they're making them. You can use your blog content to show them. Now, I caution, be gentle when you point out mistakes like this. Never make your content feel like you're shaming your audience. The goal is to point out the mistakes while sharing how to correct them. It should always have a friendly vibe to it. Even though they're reading your words instead of talking to you, they might still feel embarrassed. That's really normal. It's a part of your job within your article to let them know that they're normal and that many people make these mistakes before they work with you. Walk them through the ways to correct their flaw, emphasizing how simple the correction is. By showing them the error of their ways without embarrassing them, you get the opportunity to earn their trust. They're gonna like you more. That ultimately leads them to choose you when it's time to buy. Your audience hears from you on a constant basis. Your blog articles are filled with a professional viewpoint in your industry, your brand, and your products. They've read your case studies full of facts and figures. They understand that your company does what it does and know why it does it. But do they understand what drives your team? That's where you can make your small business blog content interesting. Allow one of your team members to write the article every now and then, or interview them. Either way, you're looking for their take on one of the topics that you cover. It could be how a case study affected them, or maybe it's the reasons that they feel your company's mission statement matters. The key is to share something that your audience can connect emotionally with. You want them to not only have loyalty to you, but to the people that you employ. Those people are the ones that your clients work directly with. Loyalty to the brand and the team behind it creates a customer that'll be tough to lose. When your audience knows that your whole team is as invested in your clients as your company claims to be, they won't hesitate to come to you first. Sharing the core emotions behind your team does exactly that. When you run out of things to say, you simply don't know how to switch it up. However, with the things we just went over, you'll never run out of great blog content to share with your small business audience. The variety will keep them engaged, the simplicity will help you keep creating, and the ability to stay fresh will help you grow your visitors, leads, and sales. That's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you learned something about the different ways that you can attack your blog and hopefully freshen up what you do as you create your content. If you found value in this video, do me a favor, hit that like button right there. Let me know that you enjoyed it, that you found something of value, that you got something out of it. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss a future video. And leave a comment below letting me know what the most helpful piece of advice I shared today was, so that way I can make better content for you in the future. We'll catch you next Friday with another video. Have an excellent week. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Today, I want to help you get your blog launched successfully. I'm going to give you our 10-step guide to launching a blog. In order to download it, all you have to do is visit visceralconcepts.com/YouTube-blog-launch. Put your first name, last name, and email address in the form, and we'll email you our guide so you can launch your blog and get it off on the right foot. You're about to learn how to launch a blog the right way. This guide is going to walk you through all the steps to getting your blog off to a successful start. It's going to teach you how to determine who you're writing for, build an idea list that never goes out of style, decide what platform to use, create your blog style, build your strategy, and so much more. Again, in order to download it, all you have to do is visit visceralconcepts.com/YouTube-blog-launch. Put your first name, last name, and email address in the form, and we'll send it to you so you can put it to use and get your blog off on the right foot right now.